does happen?
Well, we're not going to see what most people are expecting. That's for sure. I can guarantee you that, because most people looking at the weights and saying, oh, they're too far apart, Canelo is too big. No, we're not going to see what y'all think we're going to see. We're going to see a...
Canelo, what did you think about the shove, that moment that happened on stage?
Oh. I'm turning on right now.
Right? Yeah. Did it make you want to go harder for the 13?
I don't know, but made me feel more excited.
Love it.
I'm gonna train so far.
Roy Jones just got done training with Crawford, and from what he can see, Canelo's going to sleep. That's not a casual comment either. It's the conclusion of one of boxing's greatest tacticians after watching Terence Crawford Jr. up close, sparring, moving, punching, adapting. Jones got to see how much weight Crawford has put on and how much the weight has affected him. But after the session, he admitted that Crawford's power and speed. He believes Crawford has all the tools of knocking Canelo out, seen it all, but what he saw in Crawford was different. He didn't hesitate to say that Crawford, already elite, is still sharpening his tools. For a fighter that already sits at the top of the pound-for-pound list, that kind of refinement is dangerous. Roy didn't just drop platitudes. He said what he saw, and he's convinced that Canelo won't be able to handle it. If anyone knows what it takes to jump divisions and make history, it's Roy.
On the streets, you and Canelo, what would it look like?
Come on, man. Y'all know what I do. I ain't got to talk about it on the streets. I'm me against anybody. I ain't never gonna say another man gonna whoop me. So, that's your answer right there.
I guess in Guadalajara, you think it'd be a little different on the streets if Terence came to town?
I think every city, every place is different, no? It's different. But we don't talking about the streets. We're talking about boxing.
This tone from Roy Jones adds even more pressure to a fight that was already being discussed as potentially one of the defining moments of the decade. Crawford is not easing into the spotlight. He's striding straight into it and bringing the fire with him. That showed when Canelo Alvarez recently requested that their bout be held in a smaller ring. It was a clear attempt to limit Crawford's movement, likely anticipating that Bud would want to box and use angles, rather than stand still and trade with someone naturally heavier. But instead of deflecting or brushing it off, Crawford lit the fuse and fired right back.
I go back and forwards, to be honest with you. Like, when I talk to Bud, he convinces me that he's going to win the fight because he's such a believer in his own ability and he's very convincing. And then you see the presser yesterday and I thought Canelo looked really well. Do you know what I mean? Obviously he's a big lump, so I was always Canelo, then I sort of leant towards Bud, but now I'm back with Canelo, so we'll see.
The only running that I'll be doing, Crawford said at a recent press conference, is running upside his head. And he's got a big head too. It was a clean shot, more comedic than hostile, but layered with intent. Crawford wasn't going to shy away from the idea of aggression. In fact, he flipped the narrative. Crawford didn't laugh off the idea of a smaller ring. He embraced the challenge and declared exactly what his intentions were. I'm hunting him, he added. I'm hunting everything that he's got, and I'm going to take it come September 13th.
Among the era that surpassed us, the Floyd, the Pacquiao, the De La Hoya, we both came up in that era, and he was right there with those fighters, and he got the chance to fight the Miguel Cottos, the Floyd Mayweathers, and the Kovalevs and Triple G's, and I wasn't able to get those mega fights, so this is my mega fight, this is my moment, and that's the reason why I want to fight an all-time great like Canelo.
These aren't just bold words. They're calculated from someone who's never been in a losing corner. Crawford's resume is airtight 41-0 with 31 knockouts. A 4-weight world champion who just added a super welterweight belt to his collection after beating Israel Madrimov. That was a unanimous decision win, sure, but one that added another division to his growing legacy. Now he's jumping 2 more weight classes, aiming directly at the undisputed champion in a 5th. Meanwhile, Canelo Alvarez is coming off one of the most underwhelming performances of his career. His unanimous decision win over William Skull was tepid at best.
I'm going with Terence Crawford. Big weight jump, a dangerous fight, but somebody's got to prove to me that they can break Terence Crawford's will and that he can't figure it out against you. It ain't no disrespect toward Canelo, but I've said this the last couple of years. I'm not betting against Terence Crawford against nobody right now. You got to show me that you can beat him.
Over 12 rounds, the two combined for a mere 445 punches thrown, a record low in a major title fight. It wasn't just uneventful. It was the kind of performance that raises questions, not about Canelo's past, which is filled with spectacular wins, but about his present. He's no longer the aggressive counterpuncher who stalks opponents with creative pressure. Against Skull, he was flat, risk-averse, almost like a fighter more focused on staying sharp than doing damage.
Terence Crawford, does he have an opportunity to beat Canelo?
I think if anybody has a chance to beat Canelo, I think it's Terence Crawford. His IQ is on another level. He's a great fighter and he's strong. It's just that it's a lot of weight. I wouldn't be surprised if Terence Crawford wins. Wouldn't be surprised if he loses. Terence Crawford, when he went up against the best opposition, like Earl Spence, he showed what level he's on and what type of dog he is. So I don't know. You really have to let these fights play out to see what happens. He might get hurt. That might activate him to come back strong.
Could you still make 68?
I don't want to make 68.
No, I know you don't. Terence wins 68.
Yeah, well, if that's, yeah, I can make 168.
That's a dangerous version of Canelo to bring into a fight with Crawford, who thrives off opponents that sit still or slow down. Crawford's style is reactive, surgical, and venomous when triggered. If Canelo is even half a step slow or unwilling to throw in high volume, Bud won't hesitate to dominate. But it's not just about style matchups anymore. The build-up to this fight has been intensifying with every press conference. In New York, things escalated fast when Crawford approached Canelo on stage. Canelo responded by shoving him, prompting both entourages to rise and security to intervene. This wasn't manufactured drama, it was instinctual, emotional, and unfiltered. There's a real tension here, fueled by contrasting personalities and decades of legacy colliding.
It's cool. Well,
is there a champions?
I'm going to fight another elite
there is
fighter
a champions, good fighters, but elite fighters is different. Wait.
So I'm going to fight an elite fighter in September.
Yeah, okay.
Then
we want to find out.
Then we're going to find out.
And don't get me wrong, you're a great fighter.
I know I'm great.
You're a great fighter, but are you going to find out? I hope your uncle Turki Alashi pay you enough money because it's going to be the last. That's for sure.
It may be. Maybe.
I hope he pay you enough.
But you know, after fighters fight me, they never the same. So I just hope your career continue.
If you look at my career, never.
Both men have conquered 4 weight divisions. Both are undisputed champions. Both are aiming to leave Las Vegas on September 13th with more than just another belt. Crawford sees this as his chance to be immortalized, to erase any lingering doubts and carve his name above even the most celebrated welterweights and lightweights in history. Canelo, with his February 2nd 63 record and 39 knockouts, is trying to silence the wave of commentary that he's past his peak.
Happen in boxing, you know what I'm saying? And Terence Crawford is a legend. He's great. He's a great fighter. The only thing I see that I favor Canelo is that is his weight.
Yeah.
And that he's more bigger. You know what I'm saying? That's the only thing. But as far as skill set wise, IQ, I feel like Crawford can match anybody and probably do way better. You know what I'm saying? But Crawford is a legend, bro.
Yeah.
And like I said, you can't count him out. You know what I'm saying?
Bernard Hopkins, another legend who's worked closely with Canelo in the past, especially during the Golden Boy era. Initially, Hopkins thought the idea of Crawford challenging Canelo was irresponsible. "That's ridiculous," he said. "That's why we have weight classes." He went on to question Crawford's motivation, even suggesting that the bout could be dangerous for him physically.
The others say, like, no, that's 2 more weight classes. Like, once he gets touched by Canelo, it's going to be different.
I am concerned about him absorbing a Canelo punch, especially through the course of 12 rounds. We do know this about Canelo. He's going to slow down, so I think if anything, Canelo would try to start fast and bang on him and break him down before he gets later, and he still got that kind of steam. But, there's so many components that make a champion. There's so many components that make a legend. It's just so much.
But Hopkins has now completely reversed that stance. In a more recent interview, he said Crawford has a legitimate chance, putting it at 85%. That's not cautious optimism, that's near certainty. He's not going in there to prove something, Hopkins said. He's going in there to show that Canelo's time has come and gone. This kind of flip from someone as disciplined and skeptical as Hopkins means something. He's not easily swayed by hype. He watches the technicals. And if he sees Crawford setting the tone early and maintaining it, he believes that will be enough. For Canelo, who's used to controlling the tempo, this presents a real problem.
He hopes you don't run. And Turkey has a knockout bonus in this fight. And there seems to be something out there like the way for you to win this fight is to move, move, move. Is that true?
Listen.
Turkey, you need to put a small ring. The smaller ring
And then there's the extra incentive, a knockout bonus. His Excellency Turki Alalshik, one of the major backers of this fight, confirmed that the event would feature a hefty reward for anyone who scores a KO. He didn't reveal the amount, but made it clear this fight needed a finish. Not just for legacy, not just for belts, but for spectacle. This isn't just a boxing match. It's part of the larger evolution of the sport as it starts to blend more into the entertainment landscape, with Saudi influence, cross-promotional backing, and production values rivaling UFC cards. Turki also announced the most expensive Ring Magazine belt ever created will be awarded to the winner. Crafted by a British company that typically makes custom pieces for royalty and military honors, this isn't a regular souvenir. It's a statement piece, fine gold, elite craftsmanship, and a symbol of who rules the era.
It would be a disappointment if this did normal boxing numbers, you know, and let's be real, you know what Jake Paul is gonna say. He already shitted on this fight. Don't let the numbers not come anywhere close to his numbers with Tyson, and it's gonna be all bad. Would it even matter if Bud and Canelo didn't do the numbers of Jake and Tyson? Or is that an indictment on the sport that, it's just showing what our fan base prefers? Right?
And to rule this era, Canelo will have to stop a fighter who isn't just moving up in weight, but bringing speed, timing, ring IQ, and a level of confidence that's hard to measure. Crawford isn't stepping up to try his luck. He's stepping up because he believes this is his throne to take. That mindset is reinforced not just by fans or media, but by fighters like Roy Jones Jr. and Bernard Hopkins, names that carry generational wisdom. Crawford also knows the crowd might not be on his side. Canelo remains massively popular, especially in Las Vegas, but Crawford's made peace with that too. "I want all the people in the stands that to me," he said. "They're going to cry when they go home."
You need to put a small ring, the smaller ring in the...
Hey, Matt. Yeah. The only running that I'm gonna be doing is running upside his head, and I can assure you that. Facts. And he got a big head too.
It's the kind of statement that lives in highlight reels, if it comes true. If he wins, especially by knockout, Crawford's name will immediately leapfrog into any top 10 conversation for all-time greats. He would be a 5-weight champion, beating a naturally bigger fighter while still undefeated and without the backing of a promotional machine as big as Canelo's. Canelo, for his part, needs to find that urgency again. He cannot afford to be as passive as he was against Skull. He cannot expect a wide decision win on volume, and he certainly can't bank on size alone because the man across the ring from him is bringing more than just skills. He's bringing believers, from Roy Jones to Bernard Hopkins, from the quiet corners of Omaha to the noise of Las Vegas, they all see the same thing. Crawford is ready. And come September 13th, Canelo might not just be fighting a smaller man, he might be fighting history itself.
Everything is on Terence Crawford's side, all the legacy, meaning he only has the opportunity to win the belts. Saul only has an opportunity to defend them. Terence Crawford has an opportunity to be in a 5 division and the only person to win all 4 belts in 3 separate weight divisions. Why is Saul taking this fight? And I'm going to tell you why. Because there's some things in life more important than just the belts. And that 20-year career that Terence Crawford made, that all that he has, is very valuable. Very, very valuable. He had 1 foot out the game.
Floyd Mayweather's name has never been far from the conversation whenever Canelo Alvarez enters a high-profile fight, and the upcoming clash with Terence Crawford is no exception. The Mexican star's 2013 loss to Mayweather remains the only fight in his career where he was tactically outclassed bell to bell, even if it was officially recorded as a majority decision. It's a memory that continues to trail Canelo, and this time, he has decided to use it to draw a sharp comparison between his past and his present challenge. In his own words, Canelo stirred boxing fans and fighters alike when he claimed that Crawford, not Mayweather, is the better fighter. I think Crawford is better than Mayweather because he turns his guard to both sides. He's more intelligent. I think he's better than Floyd Mayweather, Canelo said. It was a bold statement, one clearly designed to elevate the scale of his next fight, but it also sent ripples through the boxing world, especially among those closest to Floyd.
If Canelo couldn't knock out Charlo, do you really think that he's gonna knock out Crawford? I would pick Terence Crawford to beat a Canelo Alvarez, even at 168. Everybody can call me crazy and whatever you want to say. I get it. Y'all didn't believe me when I told you about Spence, but trust me, Crawford will figure out a way. I know a secret y'all don't know, and I ain't gonna tell you why I would pick Terence Crawford, but it's part of the secret is the reason why I'm picking him to win the fight. So
Jeff Mayweather, Floyd's uncle and longtime boxing voice, was quick to respond. He called out what he saw as strategic messaging from Canelo, a calculated attempt to frame his next opponent as better than the one who beat him years ago. Maybe Crawford is better, Jeff said, but the one thing is, you will always say that somebody that already beat you is better than the person you're fighting, because he wants to make it look like he's gonna beat somebody that's better than everybody. Jeff didn't stop there. When prompted by an interviewer suggesting Floyd was in his prime when he fought Canelo, while Canelo was still green, Jeff fired back decisively. He had more fights than Floyd, and he lost to a man that was 36 years old, Jeff said. You ain't in your prime when you're 36. That's your prime. You are in your prime in your 20s.
You need to put a small ring, the smaller ring in the...
The only, hey Matt. Yeah. The only running that I'm gonna be doing is running upside his head, and I can assure you that. Facts. And he got a big head too.
The point wasn't just about numbers, it was about narrative. Jeff sees Canelo as trying to reframe the memory of his loss by amplifying Crawford's stature. By implying Crawford is the superior fighter, Canelo implicitly justifies the Mayweather defeat while hyping the significance of this next test. In order to make himself look like he beat someone that's better than Floyd, Jeff said, of course he's gonna say all these great things about him and it makes him bigger than he is. But while the back and forth around Mayweather's legacy adds an interesting flavor to the build-up, what lies ahead for Canelo is something far more pressing. Terence Crawford is not just a talking point, he is an unbeaten generational technician with the kind of adaptability that even top-tier trainers find difficult to decode. One of them is Brian "Bomac" McIntyre, Crawford's head trainer, and he's made it clear that no ring size, no politics, no noise around Mayweather will matter when the bell rings on September 13th.
I say before, he's a great fighter. But if you look at his career, mention one elite fighter. Just mention me one elite fighter.
So Poster wasn't elite?
Who?
Bomac is anticipating a tough fight early, but nothing Crawford hasn't handled before. It's going to be a tough fight in the first couple of rounds, he told Boxing King Media. Terence is going to figure it out, and we'll probably stop him in the late rounds. I know we're going to win. The idea is clear. Let Canelo swing and push through the early rounds with energy. But as soon as that gas tank starts to shrink, Crawford will close in. Bomac's confidence stems not from hype, but from patterns. Crawford is known for reading opponents like a book by the third or fourth round, and he's shown that time and again. His fight against Errol Spence in 2023 ended with a brutal stoppage, a performance so dominant that it made many reassess their pound-for-pound lists. However, when Crawford moved up to 154 and faced Israel Madrimov, things looked a little different.
Canelo, and he fights at 168 plus, so I don't see me and him fighting, so...
What's the highest you could fight at, realistically?
I would say 154, realistically.
154.
You know,
So,
them boys get big up there. Them boys get big up there. And I'm not a person to, toot my own horn too.
That fight, Bomac admits, was tricky. Madrimov's unpredictable style gave Crawford problems. Jumping stances, darting in and out, disrupting rhythm. The 12th round was especially rough for Crawford, who took several clean right hands. Some even argued the fight could have been a draw. Bomac didn't deny the difficulty, but he noted a key difference. Madrimov had a tricky style, but Canelo comes to fight. The implication is simple. Canelo may be more dangerous in power, but less awkward, less slippery. That gives Crawford a clearer route to execute his strategy. Bomac believes that as long as Crawford avoids trading early, the opportunities will present themselves late. It's a subtle, patient approach, but one that could pay off.
I'm all about making history. I was the first two-time undisputed champion of the world. And I can assure you, first three-time undisputed champion.
And yet, patience may not be the most rewarded quality in this particular event. Turki Alalshik, the power broker who made the fight possible, has signaled that he wants action. He doesn't want Crawford moving around the ring all night, avoiding engagement. He wants a fight. This has forced Crawford's team to balance tactical discipline with entertainment value. And in that equation, risk creeps in. Timothy Bradley, a former world champion and now a respected analyst, offered his warning bluntly: don't get hit by Canelo. In a message shared on his YouTube channel, Bradley advised Crawford to avoid testing his chin unnecessarily. We don't need to see your toughness. We need to see your brilliance.
Cause what all these streamers and these other YouTube guys, they didn't turn boxing into it's like a comedian show. It's just putting anybody in the ring. So Crawford and Canelo, good thing that fight is coming, because it's kind of put some kind of legitimacy back to boxing.
Bradley acknowledged what many are thinking. Crawford will have to stand in the pocket at times, if only to satisfy the expectations of Turki and the broader spectacle of the night. That raises questions. Can Crawford absorb Canelo's power? Against Madrimov, he showed he could take clean shots and recover. But Canelo, even past his explosive prime, still carries knockout power, especially to the body. One well-placed hook could flip the entire trajectory of the fight. But do you see it the same way? Share your thoughts below and subscribe for more updates.